Welcome to another episode on the Laura Poll. In this episode, I'm going to answer a question posed to me by a viewer, and the question is, what are the elements to prove in an offense of human trafficking in the Turks and Caicos Islands? I'll be back shortly to answer that question, but before I do, my usual disclaimer: this is not legal advice. Should not be construed as such. For legal advice, please contact an attorney of your choice.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to speak to an attorney and to have an attorney present during any questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for.
Welcome back. The offense of human trafficking in the Turks and Caicos Islands can be found in the Trafficking in Persons Prevention Ordinance 2016. I'm having a little problem here with my voice, so I have done the research, and I'm going to voice over this episode, then I'm going to come back at the end and have a conclusion.
The main law governing human trafficking in the Turks and Caicos Islands is the Trafficking in Persons Prevention Ordinance 2016. This ordinance gives effect to the UN Protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, and provides for penalties, ranging from 10 years to life imprisonment for trafficking offenses. The law also covers the exploitation of vulnerable individuals, including those without proper documentation, and provides for the support and protection of victims. The law defines trafficking to include practices similar to slavery, servitude, and sexual exploitation, such as forced participation in prostitution. Offensive trafficking in persons. 7.1. A person who recruits, transports, transfers, harbors, or receives another person by means of the threat or use of force or other means of coercion, of abduction, of fraud, of deception, of the abuse of power, trust, or of a position of vulnerability, or of giving or receiving of payments or benefits to achieve the consent of a person having control over another person, for the purpose of exploitation, commits the offense of trafficking in persons. 2. A person who commits the offense of trafficking in persons is subject to sections 9 and 22, liable on conviction on indictment to a fine without limit or to a term of imprisonment of 10 years or to both. Act. What is done. Recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons means how is it done. Threat or use of force, coercion, abduction, fraud, deception, abuse of power or vulnerability, or giving payments or benefits to a person in control of the victim. Purpose. Why is it done? Exploitation, which includes exploiting the prostitution of others, sexual exploitation, forced labor, slavery or similar practices, and the removal of organs. In human trafficking cases, the prosecution must prove two elements: a prohibited act, like recruitment, transportation, or harboring a person, and a prohibited means, such as force, fraud, or coercion, used to achieve the prohibited act. There must also be a purpose of exploitation. Evidence can come from victim testimony, documents, phone records, photographs, and statements from other witnesses. Key elements the prosecution must prove. 1. The prohibited act, the physical act of moving or receiving a person. This can include recruitment, transporting, harboring, transferring, receiving, hiding, holding a person. 2. The prohibited means, the methods used to control or coerce the victim. This includes force, physical violence, or the threat of violence against the person or their family. Fraud, deception to trick a person into the trafficking situation. Coercion, using threats, intimidation, or other forms of psychological pressure to control a person. 3. The purpose of exploitation, the ultimate goal of the trafficking act. This involves slavery or servitude, holding a person in a state of ownership or involuntary service, forced labor or compulsory services, requiring a person to work against their will, sexual exploitation, victimizing individuals through sexual acts, other forms of exploitation, such as the removal of organs or forced begging. Types of evidence used: victim statements, evidence from the victims themselves, detailing their experiences, documentary evidence, bank records, travel documents, employment contracts, and other related paperwork. Digital evidence, mobile phone data, call logs like 999 calls, and photographic or video evidence. Witness testimony, statements from other individuals who observed the trafficking or the victim's condition. Victim-related indicators, evidence of control, fear, inability to leave, or injuries that suggest forced labor or violence.
So there you have it, viewers. The key elements that the prosecution must prove in any case of human trafficking is that the Prohibited Act was done, which includes the recruiting, the transporting, the harboring, the transferring, the receiving, the hiding, or the holding of the person allegedly trafficked. And then the prosecutor or the prosecution must go on to prove the prohibited means, that is the method used to control the alleged victim, whether it's through coercion, physical force, violence, threats against the person family, whether it's fraud, whether it's deception, whether it's trickery, whether it is intimidation, psychological pressure, or some other form of controlling that person. Once those elements are proven to the requisite standard, which is beyond reasonable doubt, then a successful prosecution, in my opinion, could be founded against an alleged accused person. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to look at this video. Please like, please share, please comment, and if you get something valuable from this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you very shortly in my next video. Cheers.